Hi, and welcome to the Beta Cuck podcast, where we have spent the last 10 minutes trying to get this goddamn thing up and running.
Correction.
We're just gonna roll with it.
You have spent the last 10 minutes trying to get yours to work. Mine works perfectly because I know how things work.
Yeah, okay, fair. True.
So,
anyway,
what is this all about? Why do we
Cody.
do this? Yes, I'm Tyler.
Well,
yes,
this is Tyler.
We'll get in the flow of this eventually, but basically, we've wanted to do a podcast for a while now, and we're fucking bored, and we're swearing. Swearing's allowed on this, right? We're fine with swearing, because I'm not.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm just not gonna show my grandparents this. But yeah, we were just a bit bored, not much to do, and we just thought, fuck it, let's do a podcast. We've always wanted to do one. Well, not always, but for a while. So I guess we should start off with
for a couple of years now.
A mission statement. You know how companies have a mission statement. Like Google is like, don't be evil. They kind of failed at that, but
Facebook is still everyone's personal data. That kind of thing.
I mean, yeah. So what's our mission statement? What's like imagine we have a website. You scroll to the bottom, and it says what at Megacorp, we're all about the people, kind of thing. What's ours?
That is a good question. Ours could be.
yeah, good one. Oh yeah, that was a really good. You really got us there.
Oh, shut up. Seeing as how the subtitle to this podcast is, it's not as pleasant as you think. The Beta Cuck podcast. It's not as pleasant as you think.
Sorry, I just looked at our itinerary, our plan, and we've just written intros. Just say some cool shit. We failed at that.
Yep. Literally,
that's fallen apart.
Week 1 intro. Just say some cool shit.
That has collapsed.
All right. Well, how about this, Tyler? Why did we come up with this name for the podcast?
Look, so we've just taken. So right. You said to me, we need a name. I think. I'm bad with memory. I think you did.
Yes, I did.
We needed a name. And at the time, we were memeing around, and we were making quotes, we're making funny ha-has from the fan dub of Sonic 06, which is very funny, and everyone should go watch it. Yeah, I hear Snapcube really needs a shout out, so all of our 0 listeners can go over there. They really do need.
All of our current no listeners
can go and listen to.
To all the 0 people listening, go watch Snapcube Sonic 06 fan dub.
But we just basically I just said it would be funny if it was Beta Cuck, and that's where we're at now. What is a Beta Cuck? Well,
it's not an alpha gamer.
Yeah, not an alpha gamer. There is an interesting discussion behind what Beta Cuck really means, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about us. Who are we? What are we? We are Australian, as you can hear.
Yes.
We are boys. We are boys.
Bold of you to assume.
Bold of you. That is true. I haven't gotten you haven't confirmed with me that you're a man. You've never said that you are. You've never said, Tyler, I'm a man. Plus, I've never seen your penis. So I don't know what your sex is, what your gender is. You're gonna have to come in here and really, either I guess tell us, or I don't know, get a picture of yourself, or I don't know, just come on. What are you, man?
All right. Well, for the first time ever, I will announce my true gender. Tyler, I am an attacker.
Oh God, no! Please don't make those jokes. That joke turns me. I hate that joke.
I am a man.
If you make that joke one more time, I swear I'm going to go over to your house. I'm going to piss in your sandals. Then I will put them on your face when you are sleeping. You will be in bed. This is just sounding really kinky now, isn't it? God damn it.
Again, bold of you to assume that I have sandals.
Sorry. thongs.
Alright, so, yeah, I mean, there we go.
There we go.
Flip-flopsy non-Australians.
Right.
So, the whole idea of this podcast was, I don't know, I suppose it's just an informal
It's a variety.
sort of discussion
It's a variety.
between
It's a variety
us about,
podcast. It's a variety.
yeah, a variety.
We'll keep it light.
So, Tyler's interested in politics.
Oh, I'm
And
hella into politics, but I
very
don't want to make it the
recently
focus
we
of this
started-
damn thing, Kobe. I know you get wet whenever I mention... I don't know. What's a politic?
Don't know where
Yeah,
you're
no.
going with that bit.
Cancel it.
No, I'm just explaining what kind of things we're interested
Yes, so...
in. So,
You...
yeah.
We're gonna... Basically, we're trying to segment this just to give it some flow. And to start with, I was thinking we look at some relatively recent... I tried to roll my R's, it didn't work. Recent news. So, first things first.
Also, just FYI, this news is outdated because we've been trying to do this podcast for the last week.
FYI,
But
it
so
is
many
all
shit-
Kobe's
so
fault.
much shit has happened.
Let's get into the news. If we have time in post, we'll
It-
put like a news
it
sound
is.
effect. Do.
Cue the new sound effect now.
Alright, so in the news, popular YouTuber Dream, SMP. What does SMP stand for?
Ooh, hell yeah.
What is?
Simp.
No, SMP stands for something. Hold on. SMP
SMP is survival multiplayer.
Oh. It's also statutory maternity pay and scalp micropigmentation and significant market power.
Okay, I don't think that's in relation to
Dream
Minecraft.
scalp micropigmentation has recently been
Yes. The hit Minecraft YouTuber.
has recently been accused of cheating in his speedruns by GeoSquare, a prominent moderator on the speedrunning forums. What's it called? Speedrunning website.
Yep.
Basically, what happened?
Speedrun.net, I think it's called.
Speedrun.net, yeah. Basically, what happened is he looked at several different streams of Dream speedrunning, and he noticed that the drop rates. So in the speedrun, you trade gold into piglins, right? I think it's what they're called, piglins, and they have a chance of giving you random items. I think there's a bunch of different random items, but you specifically need ender pearls, specifically, and they have a fairly low chance of dropping. But by looking at the data, GeoSquare has found that basically Dream's either insanely lucky or cheating. We are talking that the probability of him getting the drop rate that he got is 1 in several trillion. I think it's 1 in 1.7 trillion or 17 trillion, something like that.
No, 1 in 7
7
trillion to get. But basically, all of his odds added up, divided by, like, you know, the 2% or whatever leeway that they give, it ended up, his luck of bartering and everything else was 1 in 7 trillion.
Literally impossible, basically. What's come out of this
Dream
is basically
has just-
Dream has basically had a big tantrum. Is kind of what's happened. He's been going on complaining. His basic defense has been so far that I think I've heard 2 defenses. Either he was lucky, but the other defense I heard him say was that he what was he saying? He was saying that Java might have been bugged.
Yeah.
So those.
So I actually read into this before we started this. So the Java thing, Java being bugged is basically, that can't happen. So the way that Java actually works is that it has 3 different subsets of program that trigger entities, lava, and like dropped items, and
Yeah, I do remember this as
something
well,
else,
but I can't remember the other one.
something else.
And it generates.
So lava and lava and dropped entities, so like dropped items, are part of the same subsection. So that subsection is constantly refreshing because you're in the Nether. So what Dream is basically trying to say is that it was bugged and was basically staying on the same um, like the same things of letters and numbers
Mm-hmm.
constantly, which was why he was getting large amounts of ender pearls. But that doesn't work because lava in the nether is constantly being refreshed,
Yeah.
so would that program.
Not to mention that the drop rates for the blazers, which you need to get blaze rods, and the drop rates for the piglins are just completely separate. There's no way they can interact, and there's no way that they could both be bugged without having the whole, just everything be broken.
They are both a part of the same
Oh no, I thought they
subsection,
weren't.
But again, the same things still stand.
No, I'm very confident in this.
Oh, yep, no, you're right. Yes.
So,
You're right.
basically, what's interesting here has been Dream. So, Dream has been a very discussed figure this year. Mainly to do with standing.
He was actually... Yes, he was also... what was it? Biggest growing content creator of the year.
Mm-hmm.
By YouTube. So when they did their thing, what was it? The streaming.
Yes, he won the streaming. Or
yeah,
aced.
he got.
I don't know if they do multiple. Yeah. Now, the thing is, I think
so
almost everyone would have been fine with Dream if he just said, yeah, I cheated, but I'll do it again. Like,
I was doing it for the content.
Well, see, there's the GO Square video, there's a wonderful quote. I forget the exact quote, but it is basically that the more skilled you are, the more likely you are to cheat. Only skilled players cheat because when you're a skilled player, you've practiced for so long and you feel like you deserve the win because you've practiced so hard, you've put so much effort in.
And when things...
And the thing is, it gets frustrating when you get bad RNG.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so if you continuously get bad RNG, and, you know, you're quicker to get frustrated because you know that you can do this because you've done it before. But if things don't go your way, you're a lot quicker.
Yeah. Plus, you know how to cheat better.
Refer to cheating. Yes, because you know.
Also, if we're talking over each other, it's because Skype keeps cutting out. So we're not trying to talk over each other.
Yeah. I feel like we should preface this early. Probably for this one and maybe not many of the futures because I'll hopefully be moving.
He'll be moving to a city. Right now, he's in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah. My internet is pretty laggy, so for Tyler, hopefully not for you in post-edit because we'll be splicing things over the top of each other, but for Tyler, I think my voice comes through 3 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
Later, like after I speak, he hears it then. So, we're not trying to cut over each other, but just... Yeah, I need to talk early so that he can hear it at the time that...
Anyway, back to Dream. This discussion is very interesting because, he was brought up a lot because of standing. What's your opinion on standing? Personally, I would consider myself... I've only ever... I don't know, what is standing? I guess standing is more an obsessive fan, isn't it?
Stan is like an obsessive stalker fan.
I've never really stanned anyone.
Yep.
I think...
Neither.
I mean,
there have been people that I like, but no one that I've, stand and been like, yes, I want to know every single thing about this person. Because that to me is just so weirdly obsessive that I can't deal with like the idea that some people are like that obsessed over a single person.
It is weird. I don't know, the closest I've ever been has been defending certain YouTubers online, but that's usually because they're being falsely accused of something, and that's not really the same as standing.
No.
Standing is very specific.
Defending someone, standing is a very specific subsection of, being a fan, because you're not just following someone because you enjoy their content, per se. Like, obviously you enjoy the content, but you enjoy it way too much.
Yeah.
To the point where you just become obsessive over it.
And Dream has had this problem. For one thing, his main audience is children. That's a fact. That is a
Yep.
fact. And children
Yep.
are
That is a
stupid,
blatant fact.
quite frankly.
Yep.
But no,
Yep.
children do tend to get attached to figures a lot more than people who are of sound mind
Yeah, they
tend to
do.
be. Just because if you're a child,
Yeah, like older teenagers or adults.
yeah, once you get a bit older, you are able to kind of see these people for what they really are. You get to the ability to kind of see through the way they project themselves online, and we see that Dream, he does put on a bit of a character. And you know what? I haven't actually seen much of Dream's content, so, and I've heard from people that he's good, like from actual adults, that he's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I actually do watch Dream quite a bit.
Yeah,
I really like his manhunt videos, which
are fake.
even though they were proven to not be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fake to some extent.
Which I'm completely fine with that. Yeah, hands down, they are fake to some extent, and I think it's mainly like, you know, the people who are chasing him don't try to kill him early on because that wouldn't make for a very long video. So at the beginning,
they try to put it into a
easier.
situation to make it entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I love watching Dream, because even though, you know, you can tell that most of his, at least his manhunt videos are not as true as they could be. Not completely fake, but there's definitely something going on there where, you know, Dream has an advantage to get a bit further into the video.
Yeah.
He does it for entertainment purposes, which I think is completely fine.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't like if you're doing something that's not actually going towards somewhere like a speed run, because if you're cheating a speed run, that's unfair for everyone else that you've beaten. But I think purely for videos like his manhunt videos or his assassin videos and stuff like that, like even if you're a little bit deceptive to the audience, I think that is completely fine if it's in the sole idea of being entertaining to that same audience.
Yeah. Entertainment is the goal if you're running a YouTube channel, and I think that kind of thing is fine. The thing is with the speedrun though, nobody would hate him if he just said, yeah, I cheated. We know that he cheated. Statistically, there is a tiny chance that he didn't cheat. But
Yeah, very, very, very minuscule.
Yeah. I don't like to be pessimistic. I like to think the best of people, but it does seem like he's hiding behind his stands. He's, you know, kind of...
Which is funny, because just the other day as well, he actually... Oh, there was someone on Twitter who was,
Was this the Josh thing?
Do this. Yes, Josh, that's it. He was going off on Twitter for stands, and Dream actually later made a video, you know, talking about stands as well, and he also had a very negative stance on stands.
Yeah. Though, from my understanding, that situation was bad.
Yes, it was very, very bad.
It was very cucked, as we like to say here. Right,
So yeah, like, even after Dream... Oh, yeah, sorry.
yeah, I just feel like we've mined that discussion, but I think it's a really...
Yep, haha, pun intended.
It's an important discussion to have. Parasocial relationships are very harmful.
Yes.
I think there's a great philosophy tube video on this. I think it's called like Artists and Fandoms. Really, really good, that looks into parasocial relationships and the YouTuber philosophy tube and his relationship with it, and how it is kind of difficult for him because he gets emails that are like really personal, like, you know, someone being like, oh, I was suicidal, but your videos helped me, that kind of shit that just like is really, really tough to deal. I mean, imagine if that was happening, you were getting emails from people being like, you know, oh, I'm having a lot of trouble with life and blah blah blah. It'd be so difficult.
It would. Like, even though you know that you don't personally have, anything to do with that, and you don't have
There's no obligation.
an expectation to help with that. There's no obligation, there's no expectation. But still reading something like that would hurt so much. And, like, again, to the 0 viewers that we have, both Tyler and I do acting.
Very amateur.
Sort of thing.
Very amateur.
Me more. Very amateurly.
We're like slightly, we're slightly above Sweet D in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in terms of acting.
True. I'm a bit more in the drama than what Tyler is because I've
Studied.
Finished year 12 and did a solo for drama and a school performance. Again, a solo, and I can.
Yeah, who's better at acting? Try and do a voice, huh? Try and do any voice, any accent. Come on, do it.
Okay, I'll do my voice. I'll do the Kobe accent.
Oh wow, that's so fucking impressive.
And I can kind of relate to, like, again, like, on a very, very basic, small level, to, people who get emails and stuff like that, and it's like, oh my god, blah, 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 thank you so much. Because since I started acting, I have a love-hate relationship with acting, and it actually, damages my mental health quite a bit whenever I'm in a period where I have to do acting, because
oh yeah, periods. Oh,
when
I
I
go back on
when
initially when we were talking about the you being a man. FYI, men can have periods.
Yeah, just
Trans
backpedal
rights.
a bit. This is true.
Trans rights. The Beta Cuck podcast says trans rights.
Yeah, you know what? We're open to anyone and anything.
Especially them big penis women. Or the vagine men,
Big
I don't
women. We stand some food addicts.
Right, can we continue, please?
Yeah, I have a very love-hate relationship with acting because it does a number on my mental health. Because since I've started doing drama and stuff, I've been able to hide, like, real feelings to a much, much more degrading level than what I was able to before, because I know how to pick up on cues of, oh, okay, I need to do this to seem happy, or I need to do this to seem excited.
And that's a key part of acting, is learning how to act emotions.
Yes, learn how to act emotions and learn how to act them when needed. However, I don't have that when needed spot yet. So, from what I used to be, like, before I actually started getting really interested in doing drama as a career path, I still wasn't able to express emotions properly, but at least I was able to actually show emotions in the way that they were meant to be shown. However, with doing acting and drama and learning how to portray different emotions, year after year, it started to become a problem where people expect me to act a certain way because it's how they've seen me act on stage and in public. Because there's a problem, I guess, where now that I've started this, I can't act out emotions properly. So it's sort of become a problem in the sense where people are like, you're normally not a sad person. And then I have to go, oh, I'm not, you're right, I'm just acting, gotcha, I'm actually pretty happy.
It is the Bo Burnham problem. That's what I'm going to call it. Mm-hmm. The idea that you, as an actor, you don't get the separation between your acting self and your real self, because every person who goes up on stage, everyone, myself included, You are playing a character. No matter how similar that character is to your real self, it is not your real self.
You are playing a character. It is not you. It is someone else.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that's not a bad thing. That is what acting is. It is playing a different character. But when you are acting, it's like the whole thing where it says, like, you know, the character's views do not necessarily represent my own kind of thing. Your character is meant to be different. And a lot of times, the character that you play on stage is almost like a reflection of not a reflection, but a introspection of yourself. The way you want to play it, the way you look at it. Like, I've played a villain a couple of times in, like, just some smaller productions, but you do kind of think, you know, how can I do that? I mean, it's a cartoonish villain, but even then you still think to yourself, you know, in what ways am I like this villain? In what ways can I bring myself into this role without making it myself?
Yeah.
Because
like, how can you invoke some of yourself into the character without explicitly being said character?
This is all about Dream and Stans, but this is a good discussion. I think we should move on to some... What time? What are we at? What are we at for timing? I think we're at like 30 minutes?
We're at almost 30 minutes.
Okay, well, let's...
So, yeah, we're running about on time.
Yeah, let's quickly go through some of the recent news with America, because I really want to talk about it. Because America is moving at 500 miles per hour. I'm just going to quickly pull up... I don't know, The Guardian, I generally find they're pretty unbiased. Because they're independent.
Alright, while he's doing this, I'm just going to preface, I'm going to be silent for most of this, because this is Tyler's part that he wanted to talk about, and I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm just going to be the brick wall that he's bouncing off of, per se. So.
I want news, politics... this is more in relation to us, but the Murray Basin Rail Project caught in budget impasse.
Oh, yes, I did see that. They're actually, you know, trying to fix their dumb as fuck idea.
I don't know enough about the Murray Basin Rail Project, how it got screwed up for me to really comment. I imagine it was something to do with Liberals being terrible.
Corruption.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now we're getting into politics. I should preface, I am a leftist. A dirty, dirty leftist. You can smell me through the microphone most likely.
And I do not know what I am yet.
And that's the best position to be in, because it means you're a bit more cool. I kind of wanted...
Don't put a tag on it.
I'm trying to find, world politics, but it's just got, like, local politics, which is nice, The Guardian. I think they had like a US news from The Guardian. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yes, I guess we should talk about the Pfizer vaccine.
Pfizer.
Yes, Pfizer. Vaccine. Which, of course, Trump has taken credit for, despite it being developed in Germany by Turkish scientists, and they didn't receive any money from the US. So,
yeah,
basically,
I hate Trump. Full stop.
Yeah, there we go. Trump's trying to take credit for something that immigrants did in Germany.
See, that just seems to be the thing that he does a lot. Like, you know, even if something had nothing to do with him, just to make himself look good to Americans, even though he's lost the election. You know, he's lost. He's still trying to make himself look good for the chance that he can win the voter fraud things, which he won't, because it's all fake. None of it's real.
Well, the thing is,
he's still trying.
He showed his hand way too early. We knew what his plan was for the last several months.
Yep.
Have you ever played a card game? And it's very obvious what the other person's plan is. Like, you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something, and you go, oh shit, I know exactly what they're gonna do. Like, first turn, like they...
Oh shit, he's pulling out 3 blue eyes white dragons. Does he have a poly in there? Oh fuck it.
Like they put down a trap card and they say something like, you know, something really stupid, like, oh god, can't wait for you to hit me. Hehehe. Kind of thing. But they're not doing it ironically, they're just stupid.
Yep.
That is what Trump did.
Yep.
We've known
Yep.
since, geez, when would it had been months ago, that his plan was basically to cast out on the mail-in ballots, use that to try and push through to win the election, take credit for the coronavirus vaccine, but it all fell apart. First of all, the coronavirus vaccine was developed not in America, and it was developed after he lost the election. So that part of the plan fell apart.
Also, and the other day, what was it? I think it was COVID cases America. I think the other day it hit like 3,000. It was either deaths or cases in one
It's a
day.
9/11 every day. It's literally 9/11
basically
every day. But yeah, we've known about his plan for ages
on the
now.
15th of on the 11th of December, 280,000 cases.
Mm-hmm.
And 3,000 deaths, which was a new record for them. Anyway, sorry, continue.
And just for the record, Biden is a neoliberal. Fuck him. I can say that now that he's actually... He has won the electoral vote. He is in. Screw Joe Biden. Which actually, that brings us over to the next piece of news to do with Joe Biden, since we can now start forgetting about Trump, since he's no longer relevant. Biden,
it's a good thing that even though Biden is in power, there is a Republican Senate, which means it's going to be a lot harder for Biden to get through his...
It's kind of a bit iffy.
Which, I mean, is...
Mainly because it means it's going to be harder for him to do any sort of climate change policies.
Yeah, and that I was about to say, but there is a flip side to that, because it also means that he's not going to be able to enact his green energy thing that he was basically talking about for this whole election campaign, which is a disappointment.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think it's a good idea to have the world's most powerful country lead the charge in green energy. And also for those people who think that, he meant that on day dot he was going to shut down all coal plants and hundreds of thousands of people lose their job. Let's be real here. That's not what he's going to do. It's going to be places at a time.
Yeah.
And then those same people that lose their jobs will go to the different coal places, and then when green energy is done, they'll be the first ones to get their jobs at this new place.
Can I also just say, this reminds me of my favourite thing from that debate, the debate where they were talking, I think it was the second one, where Biden's saying, there's massive health effects for the people who are being basically forced to work in these coal plants and stuff. The health effects are awful. There is lower lifespans in those areas just because of the coal plants and working in them. And Trump's like, yeah, but they'll lose their jobs. What? People are dying, and Trump's there but
that doesn't mean.
But they have jobs.
Yeah, but that's sort of his whole thing with COVID as well. He's like, we're not going to bother about lockdown or whatever. Just let it run its course through America. If people die, as long as the economy keeps on running. Which I think is a stupid idea.
And the thing is, you can make the argument, okay, we need to keep the economy alive. But the problem is that he's not keeping the economy alive for the people who matter, the everyday people. He's keeping it alive for the rich metrosexuals, the people living in their giant towers in New York City. That's the only person who's benefiting from the way that Donald Trump is handling the economy right now. When he says,
but that's also
he's
all
only...
Trump cares about. The people who can give him a lot of money.
The only argument... the only position he's had of, the economy's doing well is saying that the stock market's doing well. But the stock market isn't an accurate representation of how the average American lives.
Yeah, which again further goes to prove that all he's interested is in the rich people who can give him money, not the everyday Americans, as a proper president should.
Yeah. And this is the problem with trickle-down economics. But we won't get into economics because I don't study economics, and it would be foolish for me to do so. Though there is a great YouTube channel called, I think it's Unlearning Economics or something like that. It's really good. The guy does it, looks into the economics of various different things. It's very, very interesting. Right, but that's I think that's it for the news. The Biden thing. You cut me off before I could say it. there was a leaked
Yes,
there was a
sorry.
leaked Zoom call that he did with a bunch of protesters, like leaders of protesters and stuff, where he basically said that he well, first of all, he got upset at the progressives for making Biden look progressive, basically. Because he wants to be moderate.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be progressive. The other thing was he said that he wasn't going to use executive power for a lot of things, which is very disappointing. All he said, the only thing he's going to use executive power for, he said, is basically to undo everything Trump did.
Fair.
Which is fair enough, but the thing is, it's just kind of a bit disappointing that he's not going to do more. But, anyway. Let's see, what's next on our list? The gaming industry. Woo!
The gaming industry. Let me start with CD Projekt Red. My god.
So basically, we're recording this just as Cyberpunk has come out a couple of days ago. Cyberpunk 2077, the most hyped game of the year. Personally, I wasn't hyped for it, but I'm not a big they're not my type of game, really. But yeah, big game that was hyped up.
It's so in my path, bro.
Now, basically, here's the situation. It got released and was unplayable on console. I guess, if you want to go back further, it was pushed back. Originally, it was going to come out early this year, right?
It
was April or March.
So sometime March this year was originally. March, April slated. Very early.
Then it got pushed back, just due to development. I don't think that was related to COVID. That was just straight up, they just needed to push it back for a little bit. Then it got pushed back further.
Yeah.
And then it got pushed back again, and now it got released. It was not ready to be released.
It was not ready to be released. On computer...
It's not bad, but you need a beefy computer.
It's not bad.
You do need a beefy computer.
For reference, I have like a 2080... Yeah, I'm running a 2080 Super in my computer, and I can hardly hit like 50, 40 frames per second. Ray tracing, blah 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 blah. I'm fairly sure PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, it's alright on those consoles, but the PS4 and Xbox One,
unplayable.
It runs like absolute dog
We are talking
shit.
10 frames per second.
Yep, if that. And low poly models, no matter how close you are to the actual NPCs. So what CD Projekt Red has done is promised a lot more updates in the future. I think they're already planning like another 2 in the next week. But in that same thing that they put up on Twitter, they said that they would also refund every single PS4, Xbox One copy that people bought. And, what is it? Their market share has gone down dramatically after they announced this. Because, what was it? I think it was in the hundreds of thousands of people actually went back to places like EB Games and JB Hi-Fi.
Which are Australian... Those are Australian stores that sell video games.
Yes. Our EB Games is kind of like your GameStop.
It's literally just GameStop. It's just GameStop. It's the exact same.
Yeah.
So, now, the reason this happened, though, it's literally just because rich CEOs wanted the game released by Christmas. Yeah. That is the only reason it got released
on that Christmas rush.
Mm-hmm. The developers put their effort in. They put as much effort as they can in, but they get put on a deadline. This is what happened with No Man's Sky as well. They get told, you have to release this by the Christmas season, because we need to sell copies for Christmas. But they don't have the time. There just isn't enough time, and they end up getting rushed. They were working, what was it? It was insane work weeks. Let me look it up so I can get this right.
I think it was like something around 16 hours a day that they were working.
The crunch time was
exceeding... Basically, like, hearing...
Work weeks that exceed 100 hours.
Yeah.
Over 14-hour work days.
Basically... Yeah. When I was reading this, it sort of, made me harken back to the way that Konami treated Hideo Kojima with his Metal Solid 5
Mm-hmm.
game. How he was given so much crunch time, so little resources to actually create the game that, he was working alone for many, many overnight shifts while everyone else was at home just to be able to get this game out on time. And I hate Konami. I want to preface this. Konami, as a company, are just
Yeah.
assholes. Like, the way that they treat their developers is insane. But CD Projekt Red, I want to commend the developers for how much they got done in so little time, because the game is amazing. It looks great, and even though it's completely unoptimized, um, hats off to them for creating such a massive
Yeah.
game in such a small amount of time.
But they shouldn't have been rushed. And if we look at something like...
But they shouldn't have been rushed.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to preface this. Fuck Nintendo for what they're doing recently with the whole Melee situation. But Nintendo
Yep, agreed.
Nintendo understands that if you release a product that is shoddily made, you're going to damage your reputation. And it's going to hurt you more than it helps you. That's a fact. I can't think of a Nintendo game that's released and has needed, first day patches. Except maybe there might be some, second party games. But first party, they're always released and they work.
Yeah, but, anything Nintendo develops, I don't think there's any been first. Actually, no, I'm fairly sure Smash had the first day patch.
Yeah, but
And
it
Pokemon
didn't.
did.
I'm saying,
I definitely know for sure Pokemon did.
necessary. Needing a first day patch.
Oh, yeah, no.
The game was unplayable
None.
without it. They don't do that because they understand, they know. Breath of the Wild was pushed back for ages because they knew that if they released it in the state that it was going to be shit. They did the same with Metroid Prime 4.
And look at how amazing Breath of the Wild is now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm disappointed in Metroid 4. I was very excited for Metroid 4. But they're also very open with their consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they actually made a video saying we weren't happy with the way Metroid 4 was going, so we're starting completely afresh and working again. Which is great. That's amazing that they're doing that to make sure that they actually release a game that's worthy of the Metroid, the Metroid moniker.
Mm-hmm.
Because Metroid Prime 3 Corruption was utter shit. But it was still a half-decent Metroid game.
And the thing is, personally, I buy indie games. Almost all of my games are indie games. I own a couple of big games. If you want to argue Paradox, I've got all the Paradox games. I have some FromSoft games. But most of my games are indie games because indie developers, they just have better conditions, better working conditions. And they deserve money more. Now, obviously, people who put the effort into Cyberpunk deserve some of the money. So they deserve all the money. But the thing is that the CEOs are taking a huge chunk of it. That's the thing, is that the developers aren't in control of the company. The rich people are. The people at the top are in control. And they get the final say on everything. Which just limits anything that they can do. And it is, quite frankly, bullshit.
Yes.
It's a game development... It's a game development company. They should be allowed to develop games at the pace they want.
Yeah. The only AAA game developers and publishers that actually work hand in hand with each other is Rockstar with their GTA and Red Dead Redemption. Although, these are massive games, Rocksteady actually has complete control over when the game gets released, and Rockstar just goes along with it.
And that's how it should work.
So, yeah, because Red Dead 2 got pushed back. God, it was a couple years, I think, and it was the same with Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
The games were pushed back quite a bit to, make sure that the game was actually playable. so that when they released it, sure, they both still needed like day one patches, because bugs always arise.
Yeah.
But at least it was still very much playable in the states that it was in.
And I think an important case study is No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, for those who don't know, was rushed by Sony. Sony? Yeah, Sony. I think it was Sony. It was rushed by Sony.
It's a Sony developed.
And it was released way before it was meant to be. The only reason No Man's Sky is respected now, and it's a fucking really good game. Buy the game if you haven't. No Man's Sky is so fun. The only reason it's good now is because of one person. The guy everyone was making fun of. I forgot his name. What's his name? Sean Murray.
Murray.
It's just because of his hard work, his dedication to making the game what he wanted it to be, that the game has become what he wanted it to be. It's been developed so hard, and that was one man's dedication. He was rushed, and I don't blame him for it, but everyone on the internet did. And this is the second problem of the gaming industry, is online gaming culture is so awful. It's just bad.
Yeah.
The gamers online, they tend to be quite entitled. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
They...
Entitled, racist...
Oh god, please...
like everything under
Don't bring up racism, because you bring that up, everyone's like, oh, you think gamers are racist? What are you, some kind of... And then they, talk for hours, and I'm... Fuck, I hate it. I just...
Okay, well,
gaming culture does promote...
We play a lot of games, so we can say this because we are a part of the
I thought you were going to say, we can say the N-word.
We have... No, we cannot. That is not okay.
The problem is that...
we can say that gamers... a lot of gamers are racist. And, we can say that because we're a part of the demographic. But the difference is that we have common sense and are not assholes about, and aren't assholes to other people online. We're assholes to each other, but not to people online.
And it's just that it is the fact that a lot of... There's a big problem with racism in the gaming community. Now, the problem is that there's this idea that there's a difference between being racist and making a racist joke, like being ironically racist. There's no such thing as ironic racism. That isn't a thing.
No, if you're being racist in no matter the context or the form, you're being racist. It's as simple as that.
You are not being clever if you make a racist joke and then say, but I'm not racist. That isn't smart. That isn't commentary. You're just being racist. It's pretty simple. Racism.
Yep.
You can't make a racist joke and then be like, it's ironic, isn't it? Ha ha ha. You're just being racist. That is the fact.
You can't be a racist joke then be like, haha, make some memes. No.
Now you might be thinking,
not how it works.
But jokes, you hate jokes. The left are trying to silence my jokes. First of all, if you can't make a joke that isn't racist, that's a problem on you. And second of all, I'm fine with jokes. I'm fine with them. And even, a bit edgy jokes, that's fine. But the problem is that once you start allowing ironically racist jokes, you get into situations where you get Schrodinger's racist.
Becoming unironic.
Schrodinger's racist. Yep. Someone who makes a racist joke and then says, based on the reaction, they either say, it was just being ironic, or they say, yeah, actually, screw the black people. Because they have that ability to do that. They can hide behind the irony of racism. And you know what? I'll say it. I don't want people's jokes to be silenced. If you make a racial joke, I don't think it should be silenced. I think you should be allowed to do that. But you should also be allowed to be questioned, to be kind of mocked for being racist. Yeah. If I call you racist, that isn't an infringement on your freedom of speech. People always...
You're still allowed to speak.
Yeah.
But also in saying that, you're allowed to talk and say whatever you want to say, that also means that we're allowed to talk and say whatever we want to say.
And if you tell us to...
Be racist, go ahead.
And if you're going to tell us to stop calling you racist,
but we can
then you're infringing our freedom of speech.
That's not okay. Yes. Like, be racist if you want to, that's fine. But we're still allowed to say, oi, that's racist. You shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah.
Because, really, you shouldn't. It's not okay. It's never okay to be racist.
Anyway, I think it's time to move on to the next segment, and the final segment. I think each week, this is my idea, so I'm going to say I. But each week, I was thinking it'd be a good idea to bring a question to the podcast. An open-ended question that requires a little bit of discussion, a little bit of thought, just to kind of, get some interesting discussion going. We've already had some great discussion in this podcast. Our 3 segments have kind of become 5 segments, but that's fine. This is a variety podcast, so we can do whatever we want.
Exactly.
So, this week's question, which we came up together, weeks going on from now, the way it's going to work is one person's going to kind of organise the topics and stuff, and they'll come up with a question. But for this week, the question's very simple. What makes a good podcast? Now, Kobe, do you listen to podcasts often?
So, do I listen to podcasts, or what do I listen to podcasts?
Do you listen to podcasts often? I'm just like, what type of podcasts?
I do.
What type?
Well,
like,
I don't listen to many podcasts. I listen to the Trash Taste podcast.
I haven't heard that one.
Which is anime related, because weeaboo over here. I listen to the Hamish and Andy podcast.
Same. Oh, I bought the
and I
got the coffee table book. It arrived in the mail.
Oh, yes. Oh, it actually came?
Yeah, it came. Oh, listen to that high quality.
Oh, that sounds like a thick book.
Continue.
And I also listen to the Joe Rogan Experience.
I haven't listened to that.
I think Joe Rogan's his very interesting, and the way he talks is very, it's very interesting. Oh, and I also watch Abroad in Japan, because that's also very funny.
So I think a key
about
point.
You? What?
So the main one I listen to is the Hamish and Andy podcast. Now, let's see, what other ones? See, a lot of the ones I like to listen to are more niche. I guess, you brought up like an anime
I think
podcast.
that's the same
Oh shit. I've got the corona. No,
got Rona.
I listen to QAnon Anonymous, which is a podcast tearing apart QAnon. If you don't know what QAnon is, it's a conspiracy theory that the world is controlled by a pedophile cabal of lizard Democrats. But it's a great podcast, that one. It's a comedy one. I listen to some like history podcasts, various different ones. And I guess does listening to a Twitch stream count?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Well, then I listen to Vorsh quite a bit. Vaush. No, Vorsh.
Vaush.
Which...
Oh, my Vaush.
If anyone watches this, there's like a 50% chance they're gonna like immediately dislike after I've mentioned Vorsh and be like, I can't believe you support that pedophile liberal. But keep crying, haters. There's the kind of things I listen to. Now, I think a good point in all of them is comedy. Very funny. I need my podcast to be funny.
Yes.
I hope that we can at least do a little bit of that. But I think another important thing is makes you think.
Yes.
In some way. I don't want to open up a podcast that you just turn your brain off. A little bit with Hamish and Andy, you turn your brain off a little bit, but there's still, you get some fun little moments in there. But a lot of them are making you think, challenging the way you see the world and bringing up some interesting discussions. And that's another thing, a lot of them have discussions, 2 or 3 people talking with each other.
Yep.
Look,
like
There's something.
I think to make a good podcast, it needs to be, like obviously interesting, and it needs to be involved. I suppose, because you can't just talk to one another, the same way that you would if you're just passing a friend, because at one point or another you might have an audience listening to you conversing with one another. And I think that if there's enough of those in a podcast, maybe discussions could then happen between the people doing the podcast and the listeners that could create some really interesting interesting topics to be conversed between the both of them.
Right, well, I think that's going to wrap this up at around an hour long. We've had some good discussions. I think it's probably a good idea for us to shout out, if you have any social media or something that you want to plug. I don't...
Nah, I'm good. I won't do that.
Twitch.tv/TJBurger for my Twitch channel. I have a YouTube channel. I don't use it.
Twitch.tv/whatever the hell it is when I actually get a decent enough internet to do it.
It do be like that. But yes, that's kind of where you can find me. I don't really post on Twitter or anything. That's this podcast, the Beta Cuck podcast. I think,
So we're going to try to be doing this once a week. So, and eventually we want to get something to overlay. So this week it's just going to be the podcast thumbnail. But as we go on, we want to start doing, I don't know, like overlay gameplay or overlay, just something over what we're talking about. So it's a lot more interesting than just, seeing a static image with two people talking. So eventually we're going to upgrade to start doing things like that. But yeah, so that's where this podcast is at for the moment. I don't think there's anything else we need to discuss. I think we've done a pretty interesting thing, pretty good little discussion there. Yeah, I think for a first try, we can only go up from here, and between now and next week, try to figure out the small issues that we had before beginning this podcast. If I had to give some criticism, we did rant a little bit in the middle there. But you know what? Fuck it. That's what this podcast is all about. Yeah, but you know what? This is, whatever. We need something that we talked about. Oh well. We need something to sign us off. I'll probably find some royalty-free music to put in here. So do you want to pretend to shit? There's my phone. Do you want to That's the music. No. Do you want to just pretend this? That's the music. There's music playing. Wow, is this music great? Wow, it's so good. Yeah. Anyway, we'll catch all you Beta Cucks next week. Another song. I don't think let's fucking change the songs. Nah. Okay. I can't be fucked editing that much. No, me neither. Alright. We'll chuck a song at the beginning. Bye! Yeah. Bye! Okay, we've cut off already. There's no way we're continuing this far.